Exclusive. Did SeaWorld help cause the death of a killer whales trainer? A former employee says yes. And that beautiful Dawn Brancheau didn't have to die. The whistleblower's here with that shocking charge. On the day, feds fined the park for serious safety violations. Why a cover-up? On Larry King Live. Good evening. February this year, a trainer at SeaWorld killed by a 6-ton killer whale. Dawn Brancheau was grabbed by Tilikum, and drowned. Tilikum had a violent history, was previously linked to the deaths of 2 others. Today, OSHA fined the park $75,000 for safety violations, saying it required its employees to work within the pool walls, on ledges, and on shelves where they were subject to dangerous behavior by the animals. SeaWorld today called the allegations unfounded and says it will fight them. Linda Simons is a former employee who makes some serious allegations of her own. We welcome her and her attorney, Maurice Arcadier. Listen as a witness describes what she saw at SeaWorld back in February. Then we'll talk with the guests. Watch.
The trainer downstairs then called out to the trainer upstairs, okay, so-and-so, we're ready. And then Tilikum just took off like a bat out of you-know-where, just took off really fast. And then he came back around to the glass, jumped up, and grabbed the trainer by the waist and started shaking her violently. And her shoe, last thing we saw was her shoe floating. And then sirens immediately started. And then everybody down, like not the trainer, but the other people that kind of stand around the glass area, started telling us that we needed to get out. The sirens were going off. People were running out. Like, I've never seen so many SeaWorld employees come out of the woodwork.
Correct pronunciation, the whale's name is Tilikum. And let's ask Linda Simons, the former health and safety director for SeaWorld Orlando. She started work 1 week before the death of Dawn. What happened? What did you see? What do you know, Linda?
When I responded to the pool area, it was very chaotic. There were lots of employees that had responded. There were people putting themselves, though, in danger when they were in the rescue. People in high heels on the rock work. People who had no training with whales trying to help recover Dawn. People jumping on the gates. There are gates that split the pools so that they could move Tilly from one pool to the other. People jumping on those gates, putting themselves in close danger. And at the final, when they got Tilly to the medical pool and lifted him up, team members were allowed to enter that pool and recover Dawn's body from Tilly's mouth as he thrashed about. It was a very chaotic scene.
Are there certain procedures that are followed? Do they practice certain things at SeaWorld in case of something like this?
Yes, they do have procedures in place, and there was an exercise, a safety exercise, at the beginning of February that was very similar to the incident where they had the drill, and unfortunately the drill went so poorly, people didn't respond. People that did respond did not do what they were supposed to, that they called off the drill, they didn't go any further with it, and they were going to do another exercise. Unfortunately, Dawn's incident happened before that.
Could the death have been prevented?
I think if they had kept the distance away from Tilly, Dawn was very close to him. That was what allowed him to grab her and pull her into the pool.
Did that whale have a reputation?
Very much. He was known from the day they brought him there that he was a very dangerous whale. They never allowed any trainers in the water. And when you say in the water, that means in the pool, submerged. Where Dawn was a ledged area, and it was about 18 inches deep of water. But they knew that he was dangerous. They had the Tilly talk, that anyone new to the stadium, whether from internal transfer or a new person from the outside of SeaWorld, they had the Tilly talk that told them that if they went in the water with Tilly, they were going to come out a corpse.
Maurice, the $75,000 fine, in this day and age, that seems small. How do you react to that? And then I'll read a statement from SeaWorld. But how do you react to that, the amount of that fine?
Well, the fine is broken down into two. The highest possible fine is $70,000 for one incident. So they gave him the highest possible fine for an egregious incident, and then a $5,000 for the second one, for a lesser offense. But OSHA gave the highest fine they could possibly give.
I want to read SeaWorld's response to Linda's accusations. This is what they say. The safety of our staff, guests, and animals is SeaWorld's highest priority, and we have cooperated fully in OSHA's inspection of the February 24th accident. We're not at all surprised to hear that Ms. Simons has reached out to the media with these unfounded charges. Since her termination several months ago, her representatives have used the threat of negative publicity to seek a sizable monetary payment from SeaWorld in exchange for her not going public with these false allegations. Linda Simons worked for SeaWorld for only a few weeks and was fired not for the reason she cites, but rather for poor performance during the OSHA inspection of Dawn Branchow's death. During those critical weeks, Ms. Simons repeatedly demonstrated an inability to conduct herself to the acceptable standards of competence, transparency, integrity, or professionalism demanded of an inspection of this magnitude. Any claim to the contrary is simply false. All right, Linda and Maurice. Linda, did you seek money from SeaWorld in order not to speak out?
Before, one thing I want to point out, once we filed an OSHA retaliation complaint, we made OSHA a party to this claim. Therefore, we couldn't, and one of the requirements of OSHA is that any settlement cannot be tied with a gag order. And they know that very well, so we find the accusations that we are trying to extort them outrageous.
And SeaWorld did not fully cooperate.
Yeah, once we filed for an OSHA retaliation, OSHA becomes a party, and in order for a settlement to occur, they have to approve it. And one of the requirements that they put forth is that you can't enter into any confidentiality concerning that. That's one of the requirements of OSHA. So their allegation is simply outrageous and against the law.
Linda, how do you respond to that statement they just gave us?
SeaWorld did not fully cooperate. From the very beginning, they wanted to block them from coming on site. They wanted to withhold documents. When I was terminated, there were still documents that OSHA had requested and never given. They also wanted to make sure that those documents were never disclosed out to the public because of the damage that could be done. So they did not fully cooperate with the investigation. The allegations about my performance, I never received any negative, verbal or written, reprimand, feedback of any nature, only praise from the CEO on down. So those outrageous about my performance is just untrue.
So what did they tell you when they fired you?
They told me it wasn't a good fit. But the week before was, yes, they said it was not a good fit. The week before that was when they refused to give the documents to OSHA, and I didn't agree with that. OSHA requested the documents. Our goal at SeaWorld should have been the same as OSHA, to fully investigate so that no one else was injured or killed by Tilly. Unfortunately, I don't believe that was SeaWorld's priority.
We'll have more after this. Get your Twitter questions ready and calls ready for our experts on the salmonella scare. That's later. Coming up, stick around.